Hello. Yes. Okay. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. Just testing here. All right. So I hope you're doing great. Before we talk anything, or just be silent for a couple minutes, please. Try to find the inner peace and calm. Recognize the innate, innate inner peace and calm, and rest in that field. There's a couple of minutes. I'm here to answer any question if you do have any. If not, I'm going to talk about the middle way of emptiness and illusion. I paste a link from Wikipedia about Tian Tai school. That's Tian Tai school is the epic of Mahayana Buddhism in China. So if we don't have any question, I will go through this Tian Tai school. You may raise any question too. Why I put Tian Tai school here? Because if we really understand the middle way of emptiness and illusion, then we can understand the whole picture of Buddha's teaching. Tian Tai. So if you click the Wikipedia link, Tian Tai is an East Asian Buddhist school of Mahayana Buddhism that developed in the 6th century China. The school emphasized the Lotus Sutra's doctrine of one vehicle, Ekayana, as well as Madhyamaka philosophy. You see here we have a lot of special terms. One vehicle is the highest teaching of Buddha. It's something like oneness, non-duality. Even though we do have Theravada, we have Mahayana, we have Vajrayana, we have so many different styles of Buddhism, like Zen, like Pure Land, like Tian Tai, like Huayan, Flower Garden School, so many different schools. But to simplify all the Buddha's teaching, or the essence of Buddha's teaching is this one vehicle, Ekayana. That's the highest teaching of Buddha. So, particularly as articulated in the works of fourth patriarch Zhiyi. Zhiyi patriarch, or the master Zhiyi, is the fourth patriarch of Tian Tai school. Tian Tai Buddhism is the earliest attempt at a thoroughgoing synthetic reworking of Indian Buddhist tradition. One of the most influential Buddhist traditions in China and Japan. So Tian Tai school have very heavy influence. I mean, huge influence on other schools like Chan or Zen, like Pure Land, and later on spread to Japan and Korea. You see, Master Zhiyi is also regarded as the first major figure to form an indigenous Chinese Buddhist system. So Zhiyi is like Master Zhiyi is like a symbol of localized Buddhism in China instead of the previous translation and importation from India to China, from the Sanskrit to Chinese, lots of 100 years of translation, totally based on the Indians' teaching or Indians' sutras. But starting from Zhiyi, is like a more localized with a Chinese taste. That's why Zhiyi plays a very, very important role in the development of Mahayana in China. Tian Tai is sometimes also called the Lotus School of the central role of Lotus Sutra teachings. You see, the Japanese Tian Tai school is also an influential tradition which branched off from Tian Tai during the 9th century. And also later on the Korean offshoot, the Tian Tai school. Tian Tai school, sorry. So you can go on reading the history. The last paragraph of history. The Tian Tai school is largely based on the teachings of Zhiyi, again the fourth patriarch, then Zhanyan and Zhiyi, who lived between the 6th and 11th century in China. These teachers took an approach called classification of teachings. Very important movement in China to classify the different teachings of Buddha. You know, Buddha's teaching has so many different sutras, commentaries, and so on. So Zhiyi, Master Zhiyi, tried to classify or like which one is more Theravada, which one is more Mahayana, which one is more Zen, like that, and attempt to harmonize the numerous and often contradictory Buddhist texts that had come into China. This was achieved through a particular interpretation of the Lotus Sutra. So all the Tian Tai school is based on the Lotus Sutra. If you go back to Indian tradition, you see that the Indian Buddhist philosopher Nagarjuna. Nagarjuna is traditionally taken to be the first patriarch of the Tian Tai school. Also, Madhyamaka works, Zhong, or in Chinese we say Madhyamaka's works associated with Nagarjuna, like the Zhong, right? Madhyamaka Sastra and the Da Zhidu are important sources for the Tian Tai school. Nagarjuna actually not only the first patriarch of the Tian Tai school, but also recognized as the founder of all the other schools, like even Zen, even Pure Land. Nagarjuna plays such an essential role in the formation of Buddhist philosophy or ideas or teachings. If we go to the early figures, then you see the last paragraph of early figures. Again, it's Zhiyi. Zhiyi authored many treatises, such as explanations of Buddhist texts, and especially systematic manuals of various lengths, which explain and enumerate methods of Buddhist practice and meditation. The above lineage was proposed by the Buddhists of later times and do not reflect the popularity of the monks at that time. Again, after Zhiyi, there's a paragraph here only introduced Zhiyi. Zhiyi was born 538 and died at 597. So only like 59 years old. He passed away. In the major founder of Tian Tai school, as well as one of the greatest Chinese Buddhist philosophers. He was the first, to systemize and popularize the complex synthesis of Tian Tai doctrine as an original Chinese tradition. So it's really authentic Chinese taste, but of course based on the Indian sutras. Oh, you still here? Thank you. Sometimes talking about the different meanings kind of boring, but actually no. A lot of textbook or the schools is the foundation of the wisdom. And talking about Tian Tai school is like we are standing on the giant's shoulder to have a greater or better or clearer view of the reality. That's why I'm talking about Zhiyi and Tian Tai school here. Again, back to the Zhiyi. Zhiyi analyzed and organized all the agamas and Mahayana sutras into a system of 5 periods and 8 types of teachings. You see, he systemized, organized the Buddha's teaching into 5 periods and 8 types of teaching. For example, many elementary doctrines and the bridging concepts had been taught early in the Buddha's advent, when the vast majority of people during his time were not yet ready to grasp the ultimate truth. The ultimate truth. Everybody wants to know it. What is the ultimate truth? These agamas was an upaya or skillful means and examples of Buddha's employing his boundless wisdom to lead those people toward the truth. And here it mentioned skillful means. It's like we go to schools. First, we went to the kindergarten, primary, elementary school. Now the teacher is a professor, is a doctor degree professor, and he want to show you what is about life. So it's not easy. For the kindergarten students, with ignorance and lots of rigid concepts, and the professor have to say some basic stuff. It's not the ultimate truth yet, but it's a convenient way to pointing to the ultimate truth. So I use this analogy to what the skillful means. It's kind of a concession of Buddha's teaching to pave the way first, then later on with more teachings like Theravada, morality, or concentration, meditation, Mahayana, and now he will say, okay, here is the ultimate truth. It's like a gradual enlightenment before the sudden enlightenment, something like that. And subsequent teachings delivered to more advanced followers thus represent a more complete and accurate picture of Buddha's teaching, and did away with some of the philosophical crouches, so kind of support you at the beginning, introduced earlier. Zhiyi's classification culminated with the Lotus Sutra, 妙法莲华经 or 法华经, so Lotus Sutra. You can go on to click on the Lotus Sutra, but it's not my point today. which he held to be the supreme synthesis of Buddhist doctrine. And very interesting is that Zhiyi's Tian Tai school received much imperial support. It's like a government support from central government during Sui dynasty. Sui dynasty is a dynasty before Tang dynasty. So it's before 618, I think. So it's a short-lived dynasty. Because of this, it was the largest Buddhist school at the beginning of the Tang. So after Sui dynasty, it's Tang. Tang, basically from I think 618 to 907, or around 300 years of history of Tang dynasty. The prime development evolution of Mahayana Buddhism in China. That's the period of the golden time. Before and that suffered because of its close relation with the house of Sui. So Sui was overthrown by Tang. Anyway, because you have the previous close relation with the previous emperor, now maybe you don't, because the Tang dynasty overthrown the previous emperor of Sui dynasty, right? Makes sense? Zhan Ran, it's a disciple of the Zhiyi. Yogacara. Here we mentioned the Madhyamaka and the Yogacara, the major two streams of Mahayana Buddhism. Anyway, it's very interesting if you really go to study that. Also the Huayan school or the Flower Garden school. Faxiang, the debates between the Faxiang school and the Tian Tai school concerning the notion of universal Buddhahood were particularly heated. So there's a lot of debates between Faxiang school and Tian Tai school, which actually is good. It gives us a more clearer picture of Buddha's teaching right in the debate. Seemingly kind of conflicting, but actually no. Anyway, if we go down, Zhanran hold that Zhanran provides his rationale primarily from the perspective of the all-pervasive quality of Buddha nature. So this all-pervasive quality of Buddha nature, you have it, I have it. Or more properly speaking, is you are it, I am it. The Buddha nature is all-pervasive, right? Which he considered synonymous with suchness, 如是. This rationale indicates that internal tangible objects like water, buildings, and the flora, formless sounds and smells, and internal thoughts or ideas all possess Buddha nature. So Buddha nature in like modern terms in physics is the universal unified field. Even Albert Einstein tried to unify the traditional classic physics with quantum physics under one huge umbrella, universal unified field, which manifests as different forces in different scales and levels. Anyway, Buddha nature is more like a universal unified field or quantum physics, they used vacuum, the vacuum, which pervades all the spaces and time, which with, I would say, is the source of all the information, matter, and energy. Vacuum. Okay. Anyway, I'm trying to reach the Buddha's teaching with modern terms in physics. Anyway, it's just a reference for you. Go on. This is because Shakyamuni Buddha and any other Buddhas meritorious qualities in their practice leading to enlightenment and in reluctant realization do not reject anything, instead embracing all, oneness, non-dual. That's the all-inclusive, all-embracing, nature of the Buddha nature. In the Tian Tai terminology, the Buddha and all beings mutually include, interpervasive, and are identical to each other. Very interesting idea. Because everything is mutually included and interpervaded, so they're identical. It's like if you're talking about trees, every leaf is a tree, it's a part of a tree, right? Every branches, every stem is the small part of the whole tree. So if you talk about tree, you cannot ignore the leaves, the trunks, the branches, and the stems. Something like in more like our everyday experience. A leaf is a tree, at least it's a part of a tree. So in the Buddha and all beings mutually include, interpervade, and are identical to each other. Thich Nhat Hanh used interbeing. Thich Nhat Hanh coined another word, interbeing, to express this Buddha, the idea that Buddha and all beings are mutually include, pervade, and are identical to each other. Make sense to you? So I'm talking about Tian Tai school. There's a link there, and we are on the paragraph of Zhan Ran, a disciple or student of the fourth patriarch Zhiyi. You see, Zhan Ran writes, every blade of grass, tree, pebble, and odd particles of dust, like atoms, molecules, quarks, up quarks, down quarks, all these small particles, is perfectly endowed with Buddha nature, or the vacuum, the practitioner of the perfect teaching from beginning to end knows that ultimate principle is non-dual. You see, non-dual, ekayana, one vehicle, oneness, all-inclusive. All these different terminology try to describe the ultimate truth or ultimate reality. So from beginning to end, the practitioner knows that ultimate principle is non-dual, and that there were no objects apart from mind. This is very important concept in Tian Tai school. 即心即佛. Your pure mind, I'm saying the pure mind, the unlimited, unconditioned, pure, undefiled, luminous mind is Buddha. I repeat, the undefiled, unconditioned, unlimited, pure mind is Buddha. So, you see, The ultimate principle is non-dual, and that there are no objects apart from the pure mind. You see, it's like right at this moment, your pure mind, uh, in which all the objects appear, all the objects like a thought, like our like a person, our parents, a family, a tree, a planet. There's no objects apart from this pure mind. That's the essence of one vehicle, or ekayana, or the non-duality. Everything is one, and like the pure mind, in which all the experience, all the objects arises and disappears. Then who then is sentient, and what then is insentient? You see, within the assembly of the lotus, there's no discrimination. In the awakened eye, or in a pure mind, a rock and a person is identical. Fundamentally is same. Same of what? Buddha nature, the universal unified field, the vacuum. So we are on the post-Kant crisis and Song revival. There's always up and downs, even for such a prominent school of Tian Tai school of Buddhism. You know, here I want to mention there's a persecution of Buddhism in the year of 845. The persecution of Buddhism in 845, a period that saw the increased influence of Chan. So this persecution, you see, if you click, has damaged a lot of Huichang Huifo was initiated by Emperor Wuzhong or Li Chen of the Tang Dynasty during the Huichang area. From 841 to 845, among its purposes were to appropriate war funds and to cleanse Tang China of foreign influences. As such, the persecution was directed not only toward Buddhism but also toward other religions. Anyways, huge damage to the Buddhism in China. A lot of temples were burned down. Anyway, we're back to the Tian Tai school. You can read by yourself a little bit the post-Khan crisis and Song revival. The history, is very interesting. In so anyway, the Tian Tai school has huge influence over other schools like Flower Garden School, like Chan or Zen School, like the Pure Land School. You know, all the different schools try to borrow the essence or the beauty of other teachings and like blend it with each other, which is good actually. And for a lot of masters, they not only study one school but also different schools too, and they try to blend different tastes of different schools. So we are in the texts here. The Tian Tai school takes the Lotus Sutra or as the main basis. Again, Nagarjuna as the guide. Mahayana, Mahaparinirvana Sutra. So many different sutras. Avatasaka Sutra, Jing, also very highly regarded in Tian Tai. Avatamsaka Sutra, if you know, 华严经, the garland, flower garland Buddhism. You see, all the masters try to use different sutras as their essence teaching. Okay, Tian Tai treatise. In addition to its doctrine basis in India Buddhist texts, the Tian Tai school also created its own meditation texts, which emphasized the principles of, samatha and vipassana. So that's why now in the North America we have a movement of samatha and vipassana. I talk about samatha and vipassana, and to make it short, samatha is the calm of the mind, still of the mind. Then vipassana is the wisdom or insights arise from that calming of the mind. It's like you can see a picture without any disturbance or distractions. See the truth without any disturbance or distractions. You see whatever is. Anyway, samatha and vipassana of the Tian Tai meditation treatise. All these Mohe Zhiguan is kind of the textbooks of the Tian Tai school. So on. The philosophy. The threefold truth. Okay, that's the keyword here today. The threefold truth and the corresponding threefold contemplation. The fourfold teachings, the subtle dharma, and the non-conceivable discernment or inconceivable mind. Kong Jia Zhong, that's my topic today actually. We are on the threefold truth. The Tian Tai school's main philosophical principle is the threefold truth: emptiness, existence, and the middle. Or the emptiness, the existence could be translated from Chinese version, could translate it as illusion, bubble-like, illusion-like, shadow-like, morning dew-like, lightning-like existence of the phenomenal world. Yeah, unreal nature of the phenomenal world. Unreal comparing to the ultimate truth. Okay. In the relative field, This cell phone is real. Of course, it's real. It's solid. It's has a lot of applications. Why it's unreal? But in a relation to the ultimate truth, this thing is unreal. It's bubble-like, shadow-like, illusion-like, lightning-like, morning dew-like, existence, emptiness. So that's why the 空假中 or the emptiness, the unreal existence of the phenomenal world, and the middle way between emptiness and illusion, or the unreal existence of the phenomenal world, is the threefold truth. I know the talking about the principles of knowledge of the philosophy seems to be very, very boring. Actually, no. That's why I'm sharing here. Okay, we can finish this 空假中 or the threefold truths, and then maybe continue the rest of this Tian Tai school tomorrow. 空 all phenomena are empty. Shunyata, right? Even lots of different lineages or religions talk about the shunyata, emptiness. So all phenomena are empty of any independent self-nature or essence. So there's no true real self of this phone, because this phone has to dependent on every other things, like material, like the design, manufacturing, software application. This cell phone does not have true self, because it has to coexist with everything else. If you're talking about material, it's about the planet Earth, the whole solar system, sunlight, right? Everything, every material, the carbon, the oxygen, the nitrogen, the helium, and so on. So many atoms are coming from different planets, from different, even galaxies, from different births and deaths of supernovas, right? If you dig into the astronomy, this thing is whole cosmos. That's why we say this it's empty, because it doesn't have a true self. It has to dependent on every other things, atoms, molecules, and the galaxies, and so on. Emptiness, Zhiyi defines as the sign of the true nature of reality. Then, 假 phenomena exists, is a provisional manner. They can be said to conventionally arise through causes and conditions. You see, in the 假, the second word, or the phenomena exists in a provisional matter, like a morning dew, like a shadow, like an illusion, like lightning, like a reflection of the lake. Something, in the Diamond Sutra, 一切有为法，如梦、幻、泡、影，如露亦如电，应作如是观. So all the phenomena world exists only in a relativities. Morning dew like, shadow like, dream like, illusion like, lightning like, moon, what? Dream like, pop, bubble like, shadow like, and use 6 different analogies to describe the Jia, the provisional manner of existence. And here comes the causes and the conditions, the 12 dependent origination. That's so beautiful, so beautiful. This corresponds to the conventional and mundane truth of the classic Mahayana two truths, which Zhiyi glasses as the 12-fold conditioned co-arising of ignorance and as illusory existence. If we go to the dependent origination, Yuanqi actually is a huge branch of Buddha's teaching. We can make it short, or pratya samutpada. So dependent origination or dependent arising is a key doctrine in Buddhism shared by all schools of Buddhism. Interesting, right? Is a key doctrine shared by all schools of Buddhism. It states that all dharmas or phenomena world or material world arise in dependence upon other dharmas or other phenomena world, all the particles and forces and information coexist. That's all. If this exists, that exists. If this ceases to exist, that also ceases to exist. Very logical, right? Very scientific approach. Again, if this exists, that exists. If this ceases to exist, that also ceases to exist. The basic principle is that all things, dharmas, phenomena, principles, molecules, atoms, forces, materials, informations, energies arise independent upon other information, matter, and energy. Make sense? So beautiful. So beautiful. Anyway, that's or the illusory existence of the phenomena world. Next, back to the middle truth, the third of the threefold truth. The middle truth, phenomena are both empty of existence and exist provisionally. It is middle because neither the provisional nor the empty truth about the table fully captures its reality. It is both provisional and empty. Simultaneously, neither provisional nor empty. So one way is to use affirmation to say that it is provisional and empty. Another way to express the ultimate truth is use the negation. It is neither provisional nor empty. So beautiful, you see. Wondrous being is identical to true emptiness. This is a simultaneous affirmation of both emptiness and conventional existence as aspects of a single integrated reality. Such a beautiful, conclusion here. A single integrated reality reminds me Rumi's famous poem, "You are not a drop in the ocean, your entire ocean in one drop." You see, a single integrated reality, coexisting all pervasive reality. The middle truth for Zhiyi transcends all dualities and avoid all extremes. That's the purpose of fear. Middle way avoids all extremities. Some practitioners will say, oh, because this world is empty, I don't care anymore, I don't love anymore, I don't serve anymore, because it's empty. No. The middle way the middle truth avoids this extremity. You see, we still have learn to love, learn to care, learn to serve in the middle way, such as existence and non-existence, being and emptiness, mundane truth and the real truth, defilement and purity. Is the middle way between the truth and the mundane truth and the real truth, defilement and purity, being and emptiness, existence and non-existence. You see the middle way. The middle way use affirmation is provisional and empty at the same time, or use a negation way to say it's neither provisional nor empty. Such a beautiful, beautiful logical reason here. The threefold truth can be explained conceptually in this way. For Zhiyi, the fourth patriarch of Tian Tai school, the highest and most subtle meaning of the threefold truth is ultimately indescribable and beyond words. It is also fully integrated and inclusive all Buddha Dharma and all mundane and ultimate truths as well. So, what is mundane truth? Mundane truth, give you a very example. This, if I pointing my figure up, you will say this is up. This is a mundane truth. If this is a truth, a relative truth only, it's not absolute truth. You know, this is up only when you are related to planet Earth. In the outer space, this is not up. This is not down either. This is not left. This is not right. Make sense? This relative truth, this is up. When I point my fingers up, is a relative truth, is a mundane truth, is not ultimate truth yet. It's practical, it's useful, but it's not complete. It's incomplete. Just give you an example of what is mundane truth and ultimate truth. And this mundane truth or relative truth reply to every knowledge you have a grasp. Pay attention here. Listen carefully, my dear friend. Every knowledge in the world we have been taught in the school, in the college, in the university is relative truth. Only when you have the concept or the realization or understanding of ultimate truth, you can really understand the relative truth. You know this is only relative right. This is up, this is down, this is left, this is right. This is only a mundane truth. In outer space, this is not neither up, neither nor down, neither right nor left, neither left nor right. But you can still use this is up, down, left, right on planet Earth. No problem for you. There's no conflict between mundane and ultimate truth. That's the beauty of Buddhism. It's all inclusive. It's never exclusive. It's inclusive. Okay? It's the Buddha nature, the Buddha's wisdom embraces all mundane or relative truth, not only in planet Earth, but also on other galaxies, if there's a sentient being there, or living creatures there. That's the beauty of Buddha's teaching. And it's not only talking about this time, this generation, 2023. Sorry. The ultimate truth is embrace all space and time. It never changes. The threefold truth never changes. Emptiness, the illusory existence, and the middle way never changes over time and space. That's the beauty of Buddha's teaching. In the school, in the university, in the college, you will see the knowledge is updating every month, every year. Makes sense to you? The science is updating itself every month, every day even. No, this is a relative truth. The ultimate truth never changes. That's the Buddha's teaching. Rings a bell now? Why Buddha's teaching is so important? Because it tells you the ultimate truth, while it embraces or inclusive all the relative truths. Only when we understand ultimate truth, we can truly understand the relative truth. It's like you won't know any meaning about white if you don't study black. Make sense to you? If you don't know anything about being poor, you won't know anything about being rich. You have to study the whole span of the gradients. If you don't know how to become a daughter, only when we know. So I'm a dad of 3 kids. So I don't know what the true meaning of being a son until I being a dad. Make sense to you? You have that total picture of being a dad. Then you understand you are son of your dad too. You understand well, more completely after become a dad. I mean, for me, I become a better son after I become a dad. In the same way, you have to understand absolute truth to better understand the relative truth. Because now you have that total picture, totality. Makes sense. Okay, I have a question here. Where is the center of being? It is the heart of the soul. Does it change person to person? Very good question. So I use two truths or threefold truths here. On a relative level, the heart, the pure mind is our center, is the center of our being, not the brain. Okay. But if we're talking about the heart, it's not the physical organ of the heart at all. No, it's not. We are not talking about the physical organ of the heart. We are talking about the pure awareness. Are you aware? Yes. Do you have any boundary? Your awareness has any boundary? How big is your awareness? How small is your awareness? Can I draw a line between outside of awareness and inside of awareness? No, nobody can draw a line. But how far and how big is your awareness? Make sense? No boundary at all. So in this perception, the soul or the heart has no center because it's infinite big and infinite small. It doesn't have a center. So it's a negation to talk about the infinity. Has no center. Or I can say I can use an affirmation. Every point is a center. Makes sense to you? You are the center. Center of the world, center of the emotions, center of the relationships, center of your study, memory, and everything. You are the creator of your world. And it does not change from person to person. Something never changes. Something that is not subject to anyone, any person, any being even. That's called God. God does not change from person to person. God is omnipresent. It's like something if you, in our more experience is space. Does space has center? Does space change from person to person? No, space is space. If I put a cell phone between the space of the computer and me, it's a cell phone. I can move this cell phone and replace it with a glass in the same space. Phone, glass. The space itself has no attributes. It's open. It's unconditioned, unlimited. But if you put one thing here, it manifests as a cell phone. So space is like give you freedom to manifest. In the same way, our mind is like a free space. It gives you freedom to manifest any object, any relation, any memory, any plans, any dreams, hopes, any sufferings too. You see? Or I can say it seemingly changes from person to person because of that individual mind. So to answer your question again, where is the center of our being? There's no center. It's a negation way. Or I can use the affirmation. Everywhere is a center. Anyway, don't attach to the words here. Try to make it your realization. It's like as pure awareness, where is your boundary? Can I join a line that this inside of this circle or sphere is your awareness, and outside of this line or circle or sphere is not your awareness. I cannot draw a line. So the awareness itself is infinite big and infinite small. It's simply to be limited to a situation or to our environment because we cannot see through things. We are blocked by the vision, the hearing, the listening, the taste. The five sensory organs has its function, but also has its limitation. But our heart or our pure mind has no limitation at all. Make sense? Visualize a red apple. A red apple is right in your pure awareness. Visualize a sun setting. A sun setting is there in your mind. Visualize a demon. A demon is right there in your mind. Visualize an angel. An angel is in your mind. You see, the heart or the pure awareness has infinite applications. It is you projecting the demons or angels, the heavens or the hells. It is us that project a world. No matter, it doesn't matter what the projection you are projecting now, you can see through it. You can see that all the projections, all the objects in front of me, around me, inside me, is empty. That's the true teaching of Buddha. Because I try to be balanced, and this is a little bit confusing. I think being is so simple. It confuses us. The mind confuses us. The unawakened mind or the conditioned mind confuses us. We try to separate ourselves from others. Only mind separates, the unawakened mind separates things. From the perception or perspective of the pure awareness, it's all inclusive. God is our center. God is not like the white beard, male in that church, in one of the church. No, God is your pure mind, which is unlimited, unconditioned, infinite, eternal. You see, the word has reached its limitation. When we say God, it's like there's somebody or God other than me. But who is talking about God now? The mind, the pure mind, is talking about God. So it's included, the God term of God is included in my mind now. Or any images you can visualize the God, the luminous body, light body, that is included in my mind now, your mind now. So yes, God is there, but God is here too. So it's everywhere and it's nowhere. Depends how you try to use the word. You cannot pinpoint that here is the God. No. You are the God. But we don't say that to others. You just know that as pure awareness, you are omnipresent, you are unconditioned, you are unlimited, you are infinite, you are eternal. You can recognize your true being. You can declare that you are God silently, please. You don't say, hey, guys, I'm God. No, you don't say that aloud in the public. You only declare that statement silent in your heart. God is our source. Yes. Or I can say God is part of us. I am the part of God. Okay, I think I talked a lot today. Any other questions? So we just finished one part of the Tian Tai school. We finished the threefold truth. So beautiful. Wisdom from the Tian Tai school, from the fourth patriarch Zhiyi, Master Zhiyi, he simplified all the Buddha's teaching in 3 characters or 3 words. 空假中 emptiness, illusory phenomena world, and middle way. And maybe tomorrow or I will go on with this Tian Tai school. Great gratitude to Master Zhiyi, to the Tian Tai school, to the Buddha's teaching, to all the sages teaching, Nagarjuna, Mahakasyapa, Alan, all the sages teaching, Bodhidharma, even nowadays, Rupert Spira, Eckhart Tolle, Thich Nhat Hanh, Sadhguru, Sri Ravi Shankar, Muji, Sri Muji, Sri Papaji, so many different lineages of masters are pointing to this ultimate truth in a relative word. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I know, thank you.